Hey, everybody. We are in here with breaking news for a moment of kindness. I'm here with the wonderful and amazing educator, Valerie Sousa, and she has written the book, Coding to Kindness. We are both in the EduMatch family together. Valerie, where are you coming in from? And tell us about you and your book, please.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Melody. I am coming from Massachusetts, Western Mass, and I am a kindergarten teacher for over a decade now. And I recently wrote the book that she's holding up, Coding to Kindness. And it was inspired by my students and by my own children. I have 3 children of my own. And like I said, I've taught kindergarten for 10 years. And about 4-ish years ago, I started coding in the classroom, and I really saw such a wonderful experience happen, more than what I was anticipating. I was anticipating teaching them actual basic steps of coding, and it looks very different in early childhood, but I was looking for the more academic side of things, and what I found was how much kindness came from coding as well, and how they learned to disagree with each other respectfully, listen to each other, work together, problem solve, all these important skills. So this book is a combination of all of the things that I saw in the classroom, and a combination of the 3 characters, which I'll talk about in a little bit, Dorothy, Grace, and Ada. And it's just a mix of many different things together all in one, but definitely inspired by my experiences in the classroom teaching coding.
I love that. And I don't think it could have come at a greater time. Like, it is so necessary. And I don't want to forget that on November 13th, it's actually a Friday the 13th, but it is actually World Kindness Day. So here is a great book. If you're a teacher and you're following us, this would be a great book to share with your students. And it is right up the alley for that World Kindness Day. And so today I'm going to do things a little bit differently. I'm not going to interview my friend and author, Valerie. I'm actually going to let her just read the book. So I'm going to pop down. And I think that was, we have some comments coming in. That was Sarah. I thought it was Dr. Sarah. Thank you so much. Yes, she is CEO and founder of EduMatch Publishing, and we're so glad whenever she pops in. But I'm going to go below, and Valerie's going to share her story. So children of all ages are welcome to enjoy our story today.
All right, so here it is, Coding to Kindness. And it is illustrated by the wonderful Jennifer Lieben. She did an awesome job with all of the details and artwork in this story. It's beautiful and inviting. So let's take a look. And before we begin, I just wanted to share this important page here, because the 3 characters in the front cover here you see were inspired by real life pioneer women in STEM. So there is Ada Lovelace, Dorothy Vaughan, and Grace Hopper. And just a little bit about themselves. There's Ada Lovelace, who was an English mathematician, and she was known as the world's first computer programmer. Dorothy Vaughan worked for the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, and she was very, very respected mathematician, and she worked for NASA and became the first African-American manager. And also then there's Grace Hopper, who in the early days of computers, she was the first person to create, and her and her team were the first people to create the AO system. And that was the first computer compiler, and she served in the Navy for 19 years and retired at age 79. So these are just totally inspirational women that inspired me to name the 3 characters in the book about themselves. So there's a little bit of a history there for them. And over here are some guiding questions. And this is really powerful to think about when you're reading through this story, because there's a lot of interactive pieces throughout this book. So some of the questions here are, how many steps in the sequence structure is needed to code the girls back to kindness? So there's going to be opportunities in a little bit to code to kindness, and you'll see exactly what I mean. And every friendship has obstacles. And that's what this book is about, is those obstacles. And sometimes those obstacles are represented by bugs like you see in coding. So you'll see coding grids and those obstacles and bugs that come along, and what do they do with it? And are those important questions that we need to ask every day in our lives with friendships. but also in coding as well, because we always need to persevere and keep trying with coding as well. So another couple things to think about is like what is the shortest sequence of actions needed to code to kindness? What is the longest sequence of actions to code to kindness? And which directionality did you use the most? So did you use forward, right, left, or backward? And on the last page, it's really exciting. There's a part that shows many different ways to show kindness. And this, again, ties in very nicely with November 13th, World Kindness Day. And it asks you a question. Can you think of other ways to show kindness? So those are just things to think about as we're reading the story. Those are some guided questions, and I can't wait to get started. So here's our three friends. There's Ada, Dorothy, and Grace were the best of friends, but sometimes they got into sticky situations. No, not pancake and maple syrup sticky, but the kind of sticky where they didn't get along and needed reminders to show kindness. The girls loved to play and go on adventures together. Playing each day was always a delight, but at times they had their differences. They were very unique in their own special ways. So that's just like a lot of friendships that we have in our lives. They're unique, but they have their differences sometimes. Grace's curiosity would sometimes get her into trouble. She was constantly wandering off and mystified by the world around her. Ada loved spontaneity, and she could be impulsive at times. She was always so excited about life that she acted first and thought second. Dorothy was often shy and liked to play by herself. She loved her friends, but at times she needed space to be alone and so that she could play with her toys by herself. When their differences arise, these three girls, they need your help. They heard that you know how to code and be kind. Can you help code these girls to kindness? And here's what I'm talking about. And the next page, there's going to be a grid that you'll see exactly what I mean. One day, when the girls were playing on the swings, Grace let curiosity get the best of her. She began to wander off to the flower bed to look at the newly sprung daffodils. So there she is over here. And there's Ada saying, why is Grace always wandering off? I know, she never listens to us, and she's always curious about everything else besides playing with us. So they're a little frustrated. Here's that coding opportunity. So over here, we have Dorothy down here holding those daffodils, and she's not paying attention to her friends. She's not really listening to her friends, and they're really wanting to play with her up here on the swing set. So what you need to do is you need to start down here, and you need to avoid those bugs. There's bugs like aloof, inattentive, distant, disagreement. Those are things that can get in the way of friendships. And that's what's getting in the way of the friendship with Grace and her two friends, Ada and Dorothy. So you could decide to go in many different directions. And there's directionality cards as well that you can use, and you can print from the website, and you can use those to help you to code back to kindness. Yay, you did it! Grace made it back to her friends. This is fun. I love when we swing together. Me too. So they're really excited that they're back together. And you did that by coding them back to kindness and avoiding those bugs. Until, Dorothy and Grace headed to the field to play soccer. Ada always disliked playing soccer. Instead of using her words to tell her friends she wasn't interested, she kicked the ball far off into the woods near the field. Why would you do that? Yelled Dorothy. We wanted to play soccer, Ada. That wasn't nice, cried Grace. They're not using kind words. Using your words is always the kind thing to do. Can you help code Ada to the soccer ball so she can return it to her friends and apologize? So over here, we start with Ada, and we need to get it all the way over here to that soccer ball because she needs to give it back to her friends, right? So some of these bugs that we see in this situation is impatience, disrespect, unkind words, and those are things that we want to avoid along the way. And you can go forward, right, left, or backwards. And you can decide which way you get there. Wow, you did it! Thanks to your coding skills, Ada returned the ball to Dorothy and Grace and apologized for kicking the ball. I'm sorry. They joyfully agreed to walk to Dorothy's house to play with her dolls. When they arrived back at Dorothy's house to play, Dorothy decided she didn't want to show her new doll her mother had bought her. She hid it under the bed while the girls weren't looking. Dorothy needs your help to remind her why it is so important to share her doll. Code Dorothy and her doll to her friends so they can all play. So there we have Dorothy. She's hiding that doll. She doesn't want to share it with her friends. And her friends, I think, would really enjoy it. But she's not sharing. She's sneaking. She's being a little jealous. And she's excluding her friends from playing with that doll. So those are the bugs that are getting in the way of their friendship. So you start here and you make your way over to the end. And there's many different ways that you can figure this code out in the different sequences that you can do. So there's no right answer, which is great. Every answer is a little bit different, but you code and you have those sequences there and you get them back to kindness, which is what it's all about. Amazing job helping Dorothy realize it's important to share. She saw Ada and Grace's happy smiles while playing with the new doll, and she knew that she did the right thing. Through coding, you have reminded the girls to listen to each other, problem solve, use kind words, and share. They will always remember these important skills and enjoy the time together they have as the best of friends. And there they are with the arrows of listen, share, problem solve, and kindness. Those are all important things to have in a friendship. Each and every code is a path in a new direction. With each step, you can always choose kindness. So on this page here, you can choose kindness by saying good afternoon, retrieving a lost ball, taking a dog for a walk, sharing your toys, picking up trash, helping the elderly, holding a door, cleaning your room, helping a friend, and saying something nice. And there's many other things that you can do to show kindness, and that's what's really great about this book is that you can start thinking about more ways to show kindness with your friends and even with strangers. So I hope you enjoyed this book, Coding to Kindness.
Yay! I really enjoyed it. And I want to show you some comments that were coming up. Jeff Kubiak, also a kindness nut, he said, hey, you two. And I think this is Tamara Letter. She says, love a great kindness book. And very cool how you integrated coding bugs with the vocabulary. I know, I actually didn't get it like until she said that. So
yes, yeah, no, that was because it's true. We even as adults, we have little bugs and little things in our friendships, and we're all different, but we just need to embrace that, you know, the differences and get through those little bugs.
Definitely. And I love the language that you used, you know, just great things to talk about with your students or your children. And also, once again, so on the ticker below, you can actually go to your website to get coding cards. Will you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so there's many different things on the website. There's coding cards, which I actually have them over here. There's little cards. I laminated mine because, you know, I'm a teacher. That's just what I do. But there's little cards that you can cut out and laminate so they could actually put the sequence right in order when they're reading a book. So it's sort of like a game board in itself too, and really gets the early childhood, elementary age students coding. And, you know, we often hear coding and we think that upper level skills, but it starts at a very basic level like this with sequencing steps. There's also little characters too, so they could walk the characters through the book as well, like little game pieces. So there's the 3 characters here that you're able to print from the website. There is a seesaw activity, which can be used for remote teachers. There's a Google Slides activity, which can be used also for remote teachers. And then I created PDFs where if you're working more individually with a child, I work with students solving skills. So one thing is that they actually have a blank grid, and then they write in the bugs. Like they address the problem. So they say, this is the problem, whether it's with another child or whether it's just an internal problem within themselves. And then what are those bugs? Like what's getting in the way of the solution? And then they get to make a game piece out of it and learn as they're discussing and having those conversations about how they're feeling. It's sort of a way of tricking students into really getting those emotions and feelings out without actually, making it a fun and engaging way. So there is an opportunity to do it on Flipgrid, or you can have the student write it out depending on what age group you're working with. But that's something great for teachers to work like one-on-one with a student if they're problem solving, or even guidance counselors at schools could also utilize this as a way to engage with students and kind of help them through those big feelings and big problems.
That's brilliant. And all you have to do is go to Valerie Sousa author.com and you will actually get everything that she's talking about, and it's for free, y'all.
All of it's free.
Yes. And Alice says, thank you very much for reading this book to us. We love it. Thank you, Evelyn and Elliot, for joining us too. And yes, 3 cheers for additional resources. Amen. I love how you as an educator have brought this message so brilliantly to cover technology and social emotional learning. I just think that's great. And I really think only a teacher and a mom could do that so well. And I appreciate that you were sharing that with us and that you read that book to us. When I was when you had me, when you were reading that book, I was all in it. So I can tell that you must be a great remote learning teacher. So
thank you. Yeah, I do a song and dance.
And how can we follow your work?
So you can go to the website. It is linked to my blog, which I have to apologize, with remote learning and 3 kids at home as well. I have put that aside a little bit, but I do plan on getting back to it. And every once in a while I will post blogs. And there is my Twitter account, Valerie Sousa 7, and I often post there as well, education related things and things about the book. And then I have Instagram, Valerie_Sousa, where it's all educational stuff that I'm doing in the classroom, or not in the classroom right now, but in a remote setting, or information about the book. And then I also have a Facebook page, Valerie Sousa EDU, which has all that similar content related to early childhood, technology, the whole works of education in the realm that I'm in right now and with the book. So
awesome. And I know that I follow your work and I think you're a magnificent teacher. I just want to thank everybody for joining in today, whether it was from Facebook or Twitter or YouTube. Oh, yes. Yes. We love all children of all ages. Thank you for joining us. You really are somebody who brings the goodness. You find the goodness that there is and you put it before us, and you share work with everybody. So I love today that you came and told your story. I mean, right now we need an overdose of kindness, and not fake kindness. I'm not talking about, the toxic positivity that's out there, real kindness. We are lifting each other up. We're finding ways to problem solve. Those are things that are always in style and always necessary. So I hope that wherever you're watching, that you'll tune in and follow Valerie for more resources. And I'm sure if you're like me, you follow back educators all the time. And again, thank you so much for joining us. Let's see. Are there any last thoughts that I always ask people that I'm talking with? Do you have any other thoughts that you want to share with us that's burning on your mind before we say goodnight?
No, I just agree wholeheartedly with what you were just saying. We need more kindness in our world. And you're right, it has to be genuine. And what I found with coding in the classroom is that it brought a very authentic way of, I saw kindness before me in the way that they were speaking to one another, problem solving and working together. And they disagreed with one another, but that was okay. They did it in a very positive, kind way. And they need to learn that at a very young age. And I think that those are important things to learn. And yes, we always need more kindness in our world.
Yes. And kids too. Kids are amazing. And
Mhm.
they know. And it's, yeah. I don't know what to add to that, but yes, that's awesome. Kudos to you and to your success. I did drop the link to your book in the comments if you're interested. And again, follow Valerie on Twitter, Instagram, go to her website, valeriesousaauthor.com. And there's a ton of resources for you that are free. We appreciate so much that you joined in tonight. We'll have another story read aloud next week. So thank you all for joining. Take care, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you
Bye.
so much. Bye.